that was what actually is Islam, because I hope that you have seen. I hope everybody has seen the syllabus details that I have shared in the group, and you have seen what our topic is, the initial topics, and then later we will continue from that. So yesterday we were talking about one of our topics, that was what is Islam. Okay, yesterday we started our topic from here. So we talked about one major question, that was what is Islam. So that was our topic yesterday. So it was what is Islam, and in that particular topic, we went through the comparative religions. We tried to compare multiple religions with Islam. So I also gave it a toss to all of you that you have to collect some basic information about how different religions work in this world, and what are their qualities and how they operate on different grounds. Each religion has their own grounds. Okay, but today we have to move further because we have to explain, we have to understand what actually Islam is all about, because we are not concerned about what Christianity is talking. That is only about our basic understanding. Once our understanding has been completed, then we don't need to move towards those particular ideas. Okay, so when we talk about Islam, so what comes in our mind first? Because question is what is Islam? So when we have to understand about Islam, so then we actually pass through some of the basic concepts. For example, first we come to understand the definition of Islam, of course, what is the definition of Islam. So we then try to understand, okay, Islam comes from the word salam, which means peace. Okay, plus Islam also means submission. We can also say it's same sort of thing as surrender to the will of the God. So we can easily say Islam is basically surrendering oneself in front of the God. Like we have to surrender in front of the God, we have to surrender in front of the will of the God. That is one point that talks about Islam. Islam further goes and it gets divided among its core, its core values, its core ethical points that describe the Islam. For example, yesterday we were talking about many religions. We had seen many religions, but what makes Islam different from all other religions is basically its oneness that we call Tawheed. You might see, in other religions, we don't see this information. We see, okay, Islam is one of the religion which is having this information, which is having oneness as a core value. It's a very core. It's in center of Islam. You talk about any religion, you name any religion in the world, we don't see anywhere in the else that there is no oneness, no concept of oneness anywhere else in the world. So this is one of the primary information that we have about Islam. Then later on, Islam, when we keep expanding this tradition, so then we come to understand that Islam also has some basis, and that basis is our faith. Okay, so what is faith? Faith is, the core pillar of Islam. Because any person who doesn't have a faith, it means that person does not comply with the articles of Islam. So in faith, there are some articles. There are some articles of faith that we have to understand, because this is all Islam is all about. One major primary thing that we talked earlier is oneness. Second thing that we have in Islam, this is all about articles of faith. So first we need to understand what is faith, and then we will take a look at what are the articles of faith. So as we know that as being, as being part of Muslim society, wherever we go, people say your faith is not strong, your faith is very weak. Okay, so why your faith is weak, or how can we do something which actually strengthen our faith on God? So in Islam also, faith is the ground, and then after faith we have some pillars. Okay, pillar of Islam, which are equally important to understand what Islam is all about. So we have pillars of Islam. Okay, so these are the different values that we have in Islam. And then later on, we have the purpose of Islam. Like every religion has some purposes, so Islam also has one purpose. That is to establish a strong society. So Islam also has a purpose in that. Now we explain all of these things little by little. Okay. So first we come to the our major point that we have here. that is about what actually is Islam. So Islam is basically peace. Literally, Islam means peace. Peace, and that peace. How can you achieve that peace? You can actually get that peace by submission. Submission to whom? Submission to the God. Submission to the will of the God. When you comply, when you follow the basic principles, when you follow the instructions of the God, it means you are at peace. And anything, any information, any act of worship, any belief that you take against the will of the God, where you are not submitting yourself, actually you are going towards the opposite of peace. So peace is something where you get comfort in your mind. Then we talk about oneness. Okay, this concept. This particular concept is very unique to Islam because, as I already talked about, we don't see this concept in other religions. It's very special to Islam. If somebody asks us this question, that in Islam, what is the thing that you actually say that which is absolutely 90 or 100% different from other religions? So we can easily say without the blinking of the eye, like it's oneness, because it's completely different from all other religions of the world. Okay, then we later move towards faith, because this is very important. The faith is pillar of everything, like it's the ground. Okay, I just make you understand this very clearly. What actually is faith? We explain that, and there are approximately 6 articles of faith. How many articles we have? We have 6 articles of faith that we will also explain in today's lecture. So just keep calm. Okay, there are 6 articles. Especially in all these articles, we have number one thing is that, okay, believe on God, Allah. Number one thing is that Allah. Number two is that we have to believe on angels. Sorry, I lost it. Okay, we have number one thing is that we have to believe on Allah is our basic thing. And then we come down and we say angels. We have to believe on angels, and then we have to believe on divine books. All those 4 books, that Torah, Zabur, Injil, and Quran, these are all the books that we have to believe on. And then we have to believe on the prophets of God, like all these prophets exist. And then we have to believe on Day of Judgment. This is also one of the articles of faith. Day of Judgment, okay. And then the last one is that the sixth one is our divine decree, that we call faith as well, and we call it divine decree, okay, which is the fate, believe on the fate, either it is good or bad, so it is upon ourselves. So these are the our 6 articles of faith. You might have seen every country, every institution, they have some articles. You might have seen right now currently in Pakistan we are having 1973 article. So every country in different places they have some articles, and without these articles, no country can run. No country has the power to implement their policies. Of course, any institution, any country, they first make some articles, and then upon that article, they make the whole building. For example, here if I draw, like when you make one building, of course you need some ground. So these articles of faith provide us a ground, and then later we come to know about that there are some pillars which are worships over. So we have to understand this point very carefully. So this ground that we are talking about here, this is our faith, articles of faith. These all articles that we have to believe on Allah, we have to believe on angels, divine books, prophets, day of judgment, divine decree. This is our this ground. Okay, the whole building of Islam then comes later. After this all, it comes after this. So these are the major points that we have to very careful about. Like many people confuses the articles of faith are first very important, or our pillars of Islam are very important. There is confusion between these 2 points. I have mentioned this pillar of Islam as well. So pillar of Islam, it confuses almost everywhere. There's a whole mess of confusion. Pillars of Islam. So today I want to clarify this all of you, to all of you, is that very in easy ways. So articles are ground. Okay, articles are always ground. Upon this ground we have pillars of Islam. And one thing more that many students are mistaken about. Okay, articles of faith are spiritual. Okay, this is our spiritual. I'm not good in writing with this marker, so Okay, I lost this. All okay, we recover this all. Okay, so here you can see, all these points that we are having here is basically our articles. They all are spiritual in its form. You might see it's all spiritual, relevant to our spirit. Okay, we there is no physicality involved in this all process. For example, when we believe on Allah, it's spiritual. Okay, we believe on it by our heart. When we believe on angel, this is also spiritual. Okay, we don't need to do anything in physical way. Divine books, prophets, day of judgment, and divine decree, they all require our spiritual belief system. This is all our belief. So Islam starts from believing. Islam starts from faith. So faith is all about belief. So this is all our part of belief, our spirituality. So religion always start from faith, and faith is your inner belief that you have from your spirit, and then later on we move towards pillars, which involve our physical worships, our physical involvement. So here I would also write here, all the pillar of Islam need our physical efforts. They need our physical efforts to perform this. But our faith, our articles of faith are those articles where our spirituality is required. We don't need to do any physicality, any physical movement here to say something or to show something. We don't need to do that. We only have to go with our physical, our spiritual efforts. And then we come to the pillars of Islam where we need physical effort. So if you're clear with article of faith, which is first basic identity of Islam, where we have to believe on, this is, a sort of constitution. As I already explained here, this is the ground here. This is the ground. Okay, articles are ground. Upon these articles, we have pillars. So first thing that comes in our religion is this ground. Upon this ground, we can make a building, and then you can keep extending by, we have, ethical values, we have moral values, we have social development, we have, state structure, we have multiple different things, but everything in Islam, because in coming days we would be studying, in detail about multiple structures. We'll be studying the personality of prophet in different structures, but then you will have to understand one point, that it all was started from this ground. From this ground Islam was started, and later on Islam was converted into the pillars, and then from pillars to, like, we have a whole social structure. We have a huge variety of different things, norms, ethics, social behaviors, and multiple things, but everything was once our faith. So that's why now you can understand why everybody talks about, like, faith should be strong, and even Qaid Azam has also mentioned that unity, faith, and discipline. So once we are united, then we have to be faithful. We have to have a faith, and then comes discipline. So in everywhere, that's why we see, like, everybody is talking about faith. Many times people say today, because we are weak, because our faith is weak, we are not able to do something because of lack of faith. So this is the faith that is our ground. It's our ground upon which the whole building of Islam stands up. I hope it's clarified. And now we want to move towards pillar. Okay, faith is clear. I hope it's clear. In case there would be some questions, so we will talk about this. But now you can easily say, like, if anybody asks about, like, what Islam is, or any question relevant to Islam comes, we can easily understand how important our faith is. And then faith has some articles, and those articles I mentioned below. Okay, now we come to the pillar of Islam. After faith, this is our second important thing. Okay, after faith, we have pillars. Okay, what is difference between faith and this pillar is quite clear, because we already talked about, in other things, in other